Okay, recall that the slope of the line containing the point x1, y1 and the point x2, y2 is the difference in their y values, y2 minus y1, which we call rise, over the difference in their x values, x2 minus x1, which we call run. Okay, so that means that if we want to change this second point to the arbitrary values x and y, the variables, we can come up with an equation for a line, and the equation of the line through the point x1, y1, where x1, y1 is this fixed point, that has the slope m, would be given by this equation here, where x and y are the variables from the second ordered pair, x, y, as opposed to the fixed values x1 and y1. All right, let's see how we can use this. So find the equation of the line through the point 0, -3, so I have an x1 and a y1, and that has slope 2 over 5. So the slope of the line is 2 over 5. They want me to give the equation in standard form. So let's visualize it. We have in the rectangular coordinate system the ordered pair 0, -3. And then we have another arbitrary point that just has an x and a y value. It could be any one of the points along this line. So that ordered pair xy represents any point along the line. All right, now we're going to come up with an equation for the rise and run. That's going to be y2 minus y1, or y minus -3, over x2 minus x1, or x minus 0. So here we have rise, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we know that this slope has to equal 2/5. That was given that the slope is 2/5. All right. So y minus -3 is actually y plus 3, and x minus 0 is x. So we get this proportion that we can solve by cross multiplication. When we cross multiply, we get 5 times y plus 3 is equal to 2x. So 2x equals 5 times y plus 3. Then we can distribute this 5. That's going to be 5y plus 15. And then now, in order to put it in standard form is ax plus by equals c. I just have to move this 5y over to the other side. So I subtract 5y from both sides. I'll get 2x minus 5y is equal to 15, which is the correct form. Ax plus by is equal to c. Okay, so let's make that generic. Let's generalize that. So I have here x1, y1, which is the given point, and I have here the two variables x and y, and I'm also given the slope. And what I want to do is I want to use this equation, but I want to use it without any fractions in it. So I'm going to clear the fractions in this equation by multiplying both sides by the denominator x minus x1. When I multiply both sides by x minus x1, they're going to cancel out on the right. And I'm going to get this equation. X minus x1 times m is equal to y minus y1. If I rearrange this, I get this equation, which is called the point-slope form of a linear equation. So the point-slope form can be used to come up with the equation of a line by just replacing x1 and y1 with x1 and y1 in the equation and then putting m in. But what I'm going to do is from here on, I'm just going to use the algorithm that we use to create this equation in the first place in order to come up with equations for lines. So let's try it again. So they want me to find the equation of the line through point -2, 4, that's x1, y1, that has slope -3 over 5. They want me to give the answer in standard form. So let's visualize it. So here I have the point that they gave me, -2, 4, that's the given point x1, y1. And here I have the slope, m. And I just label a random point that could represent any xy pair that's on this red line. So this is the slope formula. It's going to be y minus y1, or y minus 4, over x minus x1, or x minus -2. So I have y minus 4 over x minus negative 2. And I know it has to equal the slope, which is negative 3/5. So I know it has to equal negative 3/5. So I've calculated the slope between these two arbitrary points, or between this fixed point and this arbitrary point. And I know that that slope has to be negative 3/5 because that's the slope of this line. All right, so now I have this proportion that I can solve once again, and I can solve it by cross multiplication. 5 times y minus 4 and negative 3 times x plus 2. So I have my 5 times y minus 4, negative 3 times x plus 2. And when I distribute 5 times y, I get 5y. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Then in order to put it in standard form, I have to make sure that all the variables, the negative 3x and the 5y, need to be on the same side. So I'll move the negative 3x to the left side by adding 3x to both sides. When I do that, I'll get 3x plus 5y minus 20 on the left. And the 3x and the negative 3x cancel on the right, leaving only negative 6. So to get it in standard form now, the last thing I need to do is add the 20 to both sides. So I add 20 to both sides, and I get 3x plus 5y is equal to 14. And this is the standard form. Ax plus by is equal to c. All right, so let's try that another time. Here I have another pair of points now. So in this case, they didn't give me the slope, they just gave me a pair of points. In the case where instead of being given one point and the slope, you're given a pair of points, no need to worry. We can still find the equation of this line by first finding the slope. We have an equation for finding the slope. It's just going to be the rise over the run, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. In this case, that's 5 minus negative 1 over 3 minus negative 5. And 5 minus negative 1 is 6, while 3 minus negative 5 is 8. So we get the rise is 6 and the run is 8. And that means rise over run is 6 over 8. But 6 over 8 is not a simplified fraction. We have to reduce it by dividing the top and bottom by 2. And we get that the slope of this line is equal to 3/4. So now we're going to use this slope with the point negative 5, negative 1 in order to come up with the equation. So 3/4 is the slope, and then I'm going to find the slope, which has to have the same ratio, 3/4. I'm going to find the slope between this arbitrary xy pair and the fixed pair negative 5, negative 1, which is x1, y1. So that's going to be y minus negative 1 divided by x minus negative 5. And we know that it has to equal 3/4. So y minus negative 1 is actually y plus 1. X minus negative 5 is actually x plus 5. We get this proportion, this equation here, and we can solve this equation by cross multiplication. When we cross multiply, we get 3 times x plus 5 is equal to 4 times y plus 1. I distribute. 3 times x gives me 3x. 3 times 5 gives me 15. 4 times y gives me 4y, and 4 times 1 gives me 4. And now all I need to do is put it in standard form. So I need all the variable terms to be on the same side. I'm going to subtract 4y from both sides. When I subtract 4y from both sides, I get 3x minus 4y plus 15 on the left. 3x minus 4y plus 15. And on the right, the negative 4y, positive 4y cancel, leaving just negative 4, or just positive 4. Then I subtract 15 from both sides. And finally, I get the equation 3x minus 4y is equal to negative 11, which is the standard form of this linear equation in two variables.